Nigerians in Dubai is a community blog and podcast that captures the stories, impact, and lifestyles of Nigerians living, working, and visiting Dubai. People, impact, and lifestyle. Follow us on all social media platforms at Nigerians in
Hi guys, welcome to today's episode of the Nigerians in Dubai Podcast. Today we're talking to someone very interesting. Her name is Saana Azzam. Is that the right way to pronounce your name, Saana?
Absolutely, or you can say Saana Awesome.
Oh, nice. Okay, so Saana is an economist. She's an author, a speaker, performance coach, and the founder of Mena Speakers, a UAE-based company that helps you find the right speakers for your events. Saana was raised by immigrant parents migrating from Palestine to Sweden, like many Africans in countries like Ethiopia and Sudan who have experienced war in different phases over the years. By the age of 26, she had lived in 6 different countries, worked within private banking at SEB Group, and done an investment banking internship at Barclays Capital in London during the financial crisis it's in. She also had an internship at Nike, American Express, and she's held over 32 innovative speeches around Europe. Saana has a master's in economics from Stockholm School of Economics. Her adept skills and knowledge in market analysis, investments, research, and finance has earned her the prestigious title of the Female Economist of the Year. As a global speaker, her goal is to educate, empower, impact through her speaking and direct engagements. So that's a lot about Saana. She will get an opportunity to talk a little bit about herself and some of the things she cares about and why you should even care about her at all. But before she gives us a bit more about her background, we want to ask a new question we hope will be a staple on this podcast. The question is, tea or coffee? If you had the power to eliminate one beverage, which one would it be? Let me tell you guys real quick. So Saana has a cup of cappuccino in front of her right now, and I have a cup of tea in front of me. So that's a very interesting contrast. So Saana.
Oh, you start with the hard questions right away. Yeah. Amazing. I do have a cup of coffee with milk in it. Don't tell the coffee connoisseurs.
Yeah.
Yes, and under it, it's a Mena Speakers mug, and under it says espresso yourself.
Interesting.
So that kind of answers my stance on this very tricky question. I can't really answer it with a straight because the Swedish side is very much, the culture is around coffee. You have something built in the culture in the working place that's called fika.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard it. Which in the middle of the day, everyone will literally just like drop everything, and then we're all gonna go and have a cup of coffee and a bun and chit chat.
Oh, okay.
And like the phones can be ringing, but no, it's like fika time.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, so we're massive consumers of coffee. So culturally, in Sweden that's what applies. And then in the Arab world, you have a cup of chai.
Yeah.
And quite a lot. So I'm a big fan of both. I'm trying to be inclusive and diplomatic about this.
Okay.
And then the health benefits for both are tremendous. So we know that. And I think coffee's been getting a bad rep, lately with excessive caffeine.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't drink it too much and all of that. But matter of fact is that it does help you. It prevents diseases such as type 2 diabetes. It's good for peak performance. And it can actually increase your physical performance by 12%. So, there are benefits in the same thing with tea, like you lose weight and all of that. But you know that already.
Yes, of course.
So I'm just going to say I like them both.
Okay,
Peace on
great. Okay, so real quick, let's dive a little bit into your background and influences. With Saana, what are your major influences growing up? So talk to us a little bit about yourself.
Cool. So I was literally born in transit.
Wow.
In between countries. My parents fled the war in Lebanon in 1987.
Okay.
And those that are good at maths can quickly count how old I am then. And then I was literally born on the way.
Okay.
So I popped out in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, and on our way to kind of settling somewhere where we can find a livelihood and a place where we can find security, essentially. So yes, I came out in Germany, but then we got word that in Sweden it's easier to get citizenship. It's easier for immigrants and refugees to establish themselves, and we had some people there. So I came out, and then about 3 months later, we continued to Sweden. So they had to take a little break.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from there, it was a typical immigrant family living in a very Swedish part of like a village, essentially.
Okay.
My father made a very wise choice, and they asked him, as we entered the country, they help you find placements of where to live. And he was very adamant on putting us in a place where it was primarily the locals, a Swedish community. Because he was keen on us, wherever we landed, to integrate and really assimilate with the culture there, as opposed to maintaining, like being little Arabia or little Palestine and Sweden. He didn't want that. He wanted us to actually learn the culture and fully adapt. And I think that was a brilliant move from his side. And that we were definitely the only Arab family in the hood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like my big fat Arab family, 8 kids, mom and dad.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much the situation. We were cooking spicy food whilst everyone else was happy with their meatballs and potatoes. Yeah, so when you're raised like that, you are essentially an outsider trying to integrate. And Sweden has been very generous and welcoming from that perspective, but there was a sense of, for myself, needing to prove myself. When you are a minority, then you always kind of want to show that you can also be good. You can also be one of them. You can also lead. And I found that performing and doing well already from the first grade was a way to get recognition, acknowledgement, and almost become untouchable. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, actually, yeah.
And I think that's kind of where it's continued. That's where it started, and that's where it continued. When you are peak performing, when you are the best in class or salesperson or employee or what have you, you enter a very kind of sweet spot.
Yeah,
and so,
people navigate towards you naturally. They want you to be a part of everything they're doing.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand that perfectly.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so that's kind of where the desire to
Okay.
really work hard.
So growing up with immigrant parents, how did that affect you growing up? And what has the reintegration with the Middle East, a region you have ties to, like?
Yeah. I mean, I do have these very typical immigrant outsider story like everyone else, right?
Yeah.
Like the mean teacher who tells me your kind can't achieve this. And getting teased because, again, my lunch box smells a lot more than everyone else, and some expressions and all of that. But it's definitely been something that's taught me resilience. And I'm really grateful for going through that early on in life, because now I'm pretty unfazed. Like, I know, through thick and thin, things are gonna go well, because if you put your mind into something, it's gonna be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So why did you pursue a career in economics and in public speaking? Very interesting, because personally, I have a background in economics as well. My first degree is in economics. So
did you like it?
I loved it, actually. I loved it.
I wouldn't say I loved it. Actually, when I was in high school, I had phenomenal grades. So I went to a United World College in Wales. It was like a boarding school. I got a scholarship and all of that. I had really good grades in all of the subjects, aside from maths and economics.
Interesting.
So why would you pursue a master's,
Yeah.
But it was kind of one of these situations where, like in the Middle East, we talk a lot about parents wanting you to become a doctor or a mohandis, which is an engineer.
Okay.
And there was a little bit of that situation where, economics, very prestigious, economics school, it's the clever thing to do.
Okay.
So I suffered through that. And the struggle was real. But then, I'm really grateful for what I've learned. Definitely worked with my
But that's very interesting. How did you go from that to becoming the female the economist of the year?
Right.
Yeah.
So I sit in conversations these days, and when I'm coaching people and in conversations, and they go, I don't really like my job, I want to quit, right? And this is where I say, quitting, no matter what you do, quitting is always an option. And many times it's the easy option. You can always leave, whether it's a relationship, a job, a hobby, whatever it may be. But there is a lot more learning in persevering, navigating, upskilling yourself, and really moving outside your comfort zone. Like, that's really when you're growing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it was, it was one of these situations where you just put your head down, do your very best, cry a little bit, pray a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it just works out.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, that's very interesting. So what about public speaking? How did you get into public speaking?
Yeah, great question. It was so accidental. 2010, the year I won this award, Female Economist of the Year, huge honor, unexpected. Me, economist. So that was cool. But I was getting a lot of press coverage, and then I get that call like, hey, we read about you. Do you want to join us for this conference to talk? And I was in this like yes mode. You just go for it. You go for it. All right. So I said, yeah, of course I'll join your conference. They're like, okay, great. What should I talk about? And they're like, you come up with a topic related to the conference. Great. So I actually went up on stage and just did this speech, rather improvised. I had written down a few talking points, spoke from my heart, just said it as it was. And then I kind of stepped down. Like, I was so nervous, that speech, by the way. Mm-hmm. My knees were shaking. I was feeling nauseated. It was just like, what have I done? Okay. Yeah. I'm in over my head here. But I went out. I did it. And then as I stepped off stage, a lady comes up to me and she's like, hey, I really liked what you said. I was like, oh, thanks. That's sweet. And she's like, okay, well, I will pay you for, if you want to come and do the same speech for my management.
Wow.
I said, what? You will what?
Yeah.
You're going to pay me? Yeah, and then she told me what the budget was. And I went, oh, okay, well, I know, sure, we'll do it. Okay. But inside of me, I was like, what is going on? Wow. Yeah, this is insane.
What were you working at this point? What company were you working with?
So I was at American Express.
Oh, okay.
And doing pretty much like research and economics related tasks.
Okay.
Yeah, so then that happened, and it literally just opened up the door for a whole new career. All of a sudden, I was getting booked. So one thing led to another, and I was getting repeatedly booked, and people were paying for me to speak, which is just unbelievable, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then an agency found me. They started representing me, and things just started scaling up.
Okay.
So I did that for a year professionally. Just traveled around and spoke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. That's very. I have a follow-up question to that, but I'm going to keep the question for one of my.
Oh, the suspense!
Okay. So, but how does being a woman in this industry differentiate you? Because it seems like this is a very different kind of industry from a competition perspective. I'm talking about Mena Speakers now.
Yeah.
You're doing Mena Speakers now. So how does that differentiate you in this industry and this market? What's the market size for this sort of things? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, super. So what is Mena Speakers? Mena Speakers is the leading speakers agency in the region. We represent over 200 experts from the Middle East that talk about various topics. It could be finance, economics, motivational speaking, psychology, you name it. So we have the best in class speakers, and then we send them out on speaking engagements. And so I want to say that being a man or a woman in general, being in this region and working as a female business woman and as an owner has been incredibly well received.
Okay.
And on the contrary, I find that there are a lot of male supporters. I've had a lot of male sponsors that have been like surprised that I show up at a meeting room or a boardroom or whatever it may be. And I'm like, okay, this is great. I love the ambition here. Let me help you. I'll introduce you to some people. So generally speaking, I find it to be advantageous to
Okay,
be a
great.
woman in business in this region, and men here are gentlemen. This has been my experience.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it might be the case for everyone.
Yeah.
But that's absolutely been my experience here.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, so real quick, you've talked a little bit about Mena Speakers, but let's dive into the topic we have a little bit more.
Ooh.
And it's, can you really make money doing what you love? So, yeah, so that's the first question.
Okay, for sure. So let me take you a few steps back, right?
Okay.
So I did the 1 year of public speaking, as we mentioned, professionally. And there was something in me, in that overachiever mentality that said, this is too easy, I'm making too much money, I'm not working enough. And I just thought somehow that you need to work really hard to achieve something. So that's why I actually moved back into finance and started working in banking. Because my younger psychology then wasn't what it is today.
Okay.
So I went into banking and I worked in banking in this region, and as a gold trader, so physical gold trader in the financial markets, did all of that for a couple of years. And it reached a point where the best way to explain it is, you know when you have like a blister on your foot?
Yeah.
It's not unbearable.
Okay.
You can walk, but it's not very pleasant.
Yeah.
And so that feeling, after a while, started coming up emotionally. And it just reached a point where I felt like this is not right for me. Working in finance was fun. I was very well compensated, exciting, and all of that. But something wasn't in alignment with who I was.
Okay.
And so when that realization came to me, I actually resigned very quickly.
Okay.
And I'm grateful for those experiences. But then I went back to the drawing board and I said, who am I? What are my values? What do I want to do in this life? And wrote down my set of values. And it's all about helping others, altruism, collective effort, like we rise together type of thing. From the values, I actually wrote a set of things that I could work with.
Okay.
And so this was one of the ideas here where, there wasn't really an agency. There is no agency in the world with primarily Arab speakers. There was no agency here that worked with speakers that in our caliber, business speakers. So there was a gap on the market that aligned with my passion. And I went, okay, this is it. This is what I'm doing.
Okay.
So yes, living proof that you can
make money doing what you love.
Exactly.
Okay. So you talked about something about your values.
Yeah.
So I have it. So a friend of mine, former Swedish producer with CNN, Jim Sturman, so he put me onto something called the Jante's Law. I'm trying to get the pronunciation properly. So it's this law in Swedish culture which celebrates every man, equality, and discourages like individual success and sets average as the goal. Having a Nigerian background where individual success is placed above the overall, I'm curious about how this has shaped your life and experiences, especially looking at some of the values you just talked about.
Okay, this is a great question. I've never been asked this before, so I love it. Jantelagen, or Jante law, as you said. It is a law that basically says you're not to think you're anything special. You shouldn't think that you're as good as we are. Basically, you shouldn't think that you're better than us. It's a code of conduct that's socially ingrained in Scandinavia, I would say. And so coming to the Middle East, which is the polar opposite.
Yes, in Nigeria, same thing as
you got it, you flaunt it.
Yeah.
Sort of a thing. Be proud of your achievements, acknowledge yourself for it. You're allowed to talk about it. And I think it's incredibly refreshing.
Okay.
So looking at both cultures, there are benefits to both. And I quite enjoy both elements. So it's been nice to be raised with the Swedish humility.
Yeah.
Of being respectful, not being ostentatious, and mindful about other people in your surroundings, because not everyone might have access to the same resources as you have.
Yeah.
So I think that's sweet.
Yeah.
However, there is this mentality of you should really acknowledge your own greatness. Why not? And people around you should applaud you. It'd be nice if they applaud you and support you on this journey. So At this point in time, I, respect the Swedish Jantelaw. I understand it.
Yeah.
But I prefer this style of we high five each other if somebody's done a good job.
Yeah. Do you think like Sweden and Scandinavia as a whole is moving a little bit away from this law? Because, for example, in recognizing you as the Swedish female economist of the year,
Yeah.
is that in line with what the law preaches? And then I also see this where in general Scandinavia is seen as one of the area with the most equality. For example, Finland, Iceland, women are well represented in those places, a lot more in business, on boards. So meeting the SDG goals, it seems like Scandinavia is a lot more ahead of most regions. So do you think that had anything to play with? So I kind of asked like two questions there.
Lots of great points here. You're right. And I think, we need to be objective in the sense that there are pros and cons with any culture you come across. And there are some values that will resonate with you and some that won't. And that's absolutely normal for every individual on this earth. When it comes to the Swedish values, I think Sweden is such a great example of a society that is high functioning and very much serving to its citizens. The fact that education is for free, the notion of the Swedish values for me are just beautiful to operate on. It's a sense of socialism, I would say, and you are very considerate to people around you.
Yeah.
As opposed to an individualistic approach. So I can understand that and respect that entirely. And then when it comes to gender roles and gender equality, we're really lucky. We're in a country that is really promoting that. The fact that we have a young female minister, the Minister of Youth, was 23?
Yeah.
It's a testament to the values in the UAE and in Dubai and in His Highness' vision here, which I think I applaud. I think it's incredibly forward-looking and visionary. So, we hold on to these things and we appreciate them from both cultures.
Okay, amazing. So now we can pretty much go back into making money doing what you love.
Yeah.
So is that like a mindset shift involved? Like a mindset shift involved that would help you make money doing what you love? And then how do you differentiate between fun passion projects and passion projects that actually make you money?
Okay. So the way to look at this, in my humble opinion, is the Japanese, they have a concept called ikigai.
Okay.
And it's about, it's a reason for being or a reason to jump out of bed each morning.
Okay.
And they look at the intersection of your passion, which is doing what you love, your mission, which is what the world needs, your vocation, what you're good at, and then your profession, what you can get paid for.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you're at the intersection of these four things, so what you love, what the world needs, what you're good at, and what you can get paid for.
Okay.
Now you're in a place of operating from a true sense of passion.
Okay.
Because you can make a living, and not just from a place of fulfillment, but it's operating on both bases.
Okay.
So I come across a lot of individuals who have maybe left their jobs to become coaches, and they're checking a lot of the boxes, but then that notion of what you can get paid for, it has to be there. Because if you're not getting paid for doing what you love and following your passion, it will deplete you ultimately.
Yeah.
If you're not able to pay your bills or live a comfortable life and you're pursuing your passion, you're going to end up giving up on it.
Yeah.
So somewhere it has to be at the intersection of all these four elements. And luckily in this day and age, this is something that's fully possible. With the world is moving more towards niche societies. So you mentioned that you're part of this group.
Yeah, the beverage room, like a beverage group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many members would you have there?
105,000.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So let's assume you're selling beverages.
Yeah.
Let's just assume one person. So each of your members buy one of your items.
Yeah.
You can make a really good living doing that if beverages is what you're passionate about. So the world is definitely, in the digital world, has definitely enabled us to create these pockets of special interests. I came across this really funny, I don't know how to express it, but it's like a broom with a horse.
Okay.
And people are competing. You know how you, like when you were a child, you used to pretend like you're running with a horse?
Yeah,
you're on a horse.
Okay.
Okay, but these are adults that are competing in this.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's so interesting.
They're actually competing in this.
Okay.
And so the videos, they're baffling to me, but there's like a whole community that's emerged out of this. And I'm pretty sure that there's a champion or two or somebody's organizing this who's actually making a living out of it.
Yeah.
So in this day and age, you can most certainly tap into these elements. You don't only have to be a white-collar professional in order to succeed.
Okay.
Success looks very diverse and very different. Yeah.
Okay. So it's safe to say that you believe that the digital revolution is helping a lot of people make a living out of things that would ordinarily not have been possible like 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So for example, like Mena Speakers, for example, how would a platform like Mena Speakers have operated like 10, 20 years ago, like before the digital revolution?
I think in the sense that we would have been operating perhaps in the same way, but with less global exposure.
Yeah.
Right. So we've created a platform where speakers can register on there, and if you're based in Dubai, you can get booked in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You can get booked in whatever part of the world if you're a novice. So that type of exposure obviously wasn't the same a couple of years ago. So the opportunities are huge from that sense, and definitely expanding the scope of the business. Now, you can claim, and I've heard this before, that you have TED Talks and YouTube videos, so why would anybody want to book a speaker, for example? But we as humans, we love to congregate.
Yeah.
We love the idea of meeting up, whether that was in the church or in the mosque or wherever it may be. That notion of congregating is still very much within us.
Yeah.
So we love this idea of meeting up. So I definitely think that being a speaker is a job that will continue. It's a job for the past, present, and future. For those that are very successful or very smart and strategic about it. And the beauty of it is that you can craft your narrative. You can become a professionally recognized paid speaker today, if that's what you choose to do, and embark on that journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask a little bit more about that, but let's. How do you scale this sort of businesses, this passion projects, these things that become proper businesses? How do you scale? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great. So one of the biggest eye openers for me a couple of years ago was when I read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week.
Oh, okay. This is the second time that book is coming up this week.
Really?
Yeah, someone else mentioned the book to me this week. Yeah.
Amazing. And he really hit the nail on the head. Now, he said it more metaphorically about the 4-hour work week, yeah. But we live in a day and age where you can outsource so much. So I have, full-time staff here and in India. But then I work with freelancers in Bangladesh, in Palestine, in Egypt, and then wherever I need them. So if I need copywriters from the States, I will do that. I'm constantly using freelance resources that are helping me with specific things.
Yeah.
And that level of specialization, or just having a computer and a laptop, you can set it up from anywhere. Yeah, the space for owning your own time and business and that gig economy.
Yeah.
And I think that's also part of the future.
Okay, great. So basically scaling has become a lot easier with freelancers and all the rest that can just help you grow your business from that perspective.
For sure. And then we are also living in a collaboration world.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're not, one of the quickest ways is to collaborate with other people. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. Sort of mentality. So there's so many opportunities. People that would have initially been perceived as competitors are individuals that we collaborate today with, because we're looking at win-win. That is the mentality of 21st century.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. So, what are some of the opportunities available for going from passion to profit in the UAE and to GCC? What are some of the opportunities available? What are some very interesting ways that you have seen people?
Nice. So this place is quite incredible. We used to talk about the land of opportunities being the West before. I genuinely think the land of opportunity in the Middle East and Asia, perhaps even in Africa, this is where you can, at least in Dubai, you can comfortably set up a meeting with a top CEO because you happen to have been sitting next to them in a cafe. Or, one of the things that I did was I prospected, so I needed to reach out to a sheikh once and to invite him to one of our conferences on behalf of our client. I was going, what on God's green earth am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And then one thing led to another, asked around, got the number, sent a WhatsApp message. He was so kind, he responded to me.
Wow.
I'm going, oh my goodness. Okay, this works.
Okay.
So in a digital age, the reach to pursue something like that yourself it's incredible. The same, we reached Michelle Obama on Air Force One in the States, sitting here in Dubai by talking to our network, who helped us ask her the question, do you want to come here? And that's the beauty of the digital world. That's the beauty of the 21st century.
Okay.
That we're more connected than ever. They talk about 6 degrees of separation. I suspect it might be less.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting, actually. Okay. So, where are you with Mena Speakers at the moment? What's the dream? How are you achieving the dream? And where are you going?
So Mena Speakers has, a couple of days ago, we won the best speakers in MC Bureau.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it
okay.
was a huge milestone. It was a huge achievement for us, and I'm so proud.
Yeah.
When you get that email and you're like, oh my goodness, did this actually happen? And we were dancing in the office. So that was an incredible moment, and it just happened, a couple of days ago, last week. So that's a huge milestone, and we hope to keep expanding and keep exporting voices from this region. My fundamental view is that knowledge belongs to all of us, and thus should also be presented by all of us.
Okay.
Being a professional speaker in Sweden and in Northern Europe, very often I was the youngest, very often I was the only female, and I was absolutely the only Arab on stage. And so something didn't sit well with me. So I'm going, why isn't there more diversity on stage? And so my dream is to have more people of color, more people of different ethnicities, different background, ages, across the board on stage, because when you are on stage, you're leading a room. You're positioned as an expert, and expertise and knowledge comes from all over the world. And so my dream and hope is to provide that.
Okay.
And so Mena Speakers has done that, and we've moved on. So we have speakers from Middle East and North Africa. But we went, who actually told me, Saana, you should start focusing on Africa?
Okay.
The ex-president of South Africa.
Wow.
His Excellency President Thabo Mbeki.
Yeah.
So the second post-democratic president of South Africa, he's the one that came after Nelson Mandela. One of my first deals, I had just resigned from the bank. I had just decided to set up this business. And then one of my first deals that landed on my lap was a call from a friend of a friend. It was one of these situations. And a friend says, oh, you do something with speakers. But His Excellency, he's flying to Dubai. Can you help us arrange something for him? Like an event or something. And I went, oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing at that point in time. But that was the second deal that we'd had.
Wow.
So it was within 2 weeks of me setting up this business. It landed on my lap. That was divine intervention. And he was mentioning the Renaissance movement that's also happening out in Africa, and how we should amplify that. And so that thought has been in my head since I set up the business, that I don't want to just focus on this region, but I want to open the doors for anybody who has a great story to tell. And this is why we set up a few months ago a digital platform called Know Who Market.
Okay.
And it's about democratizing knowledge. It's about democratizing the messenger of knowledge. And so I welcome my friends from Nigeria. I welcome my friends from all over the world to register their bio. It's absolutely for free. And we're kind of sending the message of this is the standard. So if you want to be a speaker, if you have a story to tell, register with us, showcase your knowledge, your expertise, and let us help you and help yourself to get up on stage and share your story, motivate people, and really move individuals.
Great.
Yeah, it's a huge endeavor, and it's a tech development. I'm way out of my comfort zone, just so you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's something incredibly important, worth pursuing, because knowledge again belongs to all of us.
Yeah. That's a really amazing initiative, and I guess I want to know a little bit more about the Know Market.
Yeah.
So it's the Know Who Market.
Yeah.
How did you get the name? How did you?
Oh, cool. So it came from our clients who would say, do you know who can talk about oil and gas? Do you know who can talk about finance? And I went, yeah, I know who. It's da. And I would answer that question. And so this is often a question that I get. And we went, what should we name this platform? Know who? You know who? Yeah, we know who.
Yeah, great.
And so that's kind of the name and the background to it.
Okay.
At this point in time, where we have about, a couple of hundred people that have registered, and it's been incredible because we got access to like a 6-year-old girl from Saudi who we put up on stage. She was the cutest thing on earth.
Wow.
Yeah, and because we opened the door, and we would have never had this type of access, but we're saying knowledge belongs to all. We want to give you all a chance. And so register, join us in this movement, and let's spread the word of knowledge,
Amazing. That's a very amazing platform. So for everyone that's listening, if you have a story to tell, the Know Market is waiting for you, basically. Yeah. Okay. So just like as a final question, I want to talk about what experience you have with Nigerians and Africans, working with Nigerians and Africans. Yes. So.
Great. So, as mentioned, we do represent some really interesting African thought leaders. And top of mind, it is His Excellency President Thabo Mbeki of South Africa. I've interviewed Tonya Cole.
Oh yeah, Tonya Cole, very interesting.
From Sahara Group. Yeah, exactly. And then we have a few other Nigerians that we have on the platform that we represent.
Okay.
And we do represent a few South Africans as well that we sent out on speaking engagements. So it's a marvelous continent and lots of talent out there, and we just want to keep meeting them and engaging more with them so that we get to share more of the African perspective to the rest of the world.
Okay. Amazing. So do you have anything to say to our viewers or to the world?
Well, whether you're a speaker or not, so not everyone is a public speaker, but everyone will speak publicly. And one of our mission statement here is to create an improved state of the world through great dialogue. And so when we are able to speak our own truth and honor our own story, that's really when we're able to inspire other people and kind of invoke something within them to move. And so for all the listeners out there, I urge you to keep finding your own voice and speaking up as much as you possibly can.
Amazing. Thanks a lot, Saana. That was an amazing conversation. Thank you very much, guys. So that was Saana Azzam. So we're going to transcribe the content, and you can listen and read more about it on NigeriansInDubai.com. Bye, guys.